It's another Raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draft Raw Authentic. Yes, I am finally here making another video, and like I said, it's a Raw one, so there will be no edits. Now, I'm going through the gauntlet. I already finished rookie predictions for the offensive side of the ball, and now I'm on the defensive side of the ball. And, you know, me trying to get back into this game because I haven't did a video in a very, I wouldn't say very long time, but in a while, had to go back and do some research. I noticed in my last video, I didn't do as much research as I should have. I forgot some players to mention during some of these offensive rookie position stuff, so I may come out for another video, I may not, but it's one of those situations that, I messed up, it's my fault, it is what it is. But it's out there, and you can look at it if you want. I say go ahead and look at it. It's pretty good videos. Basically going over every offensive position, quarterback, wide receiver, except for offensive line. I'm not doing offensive line for rookie predictions, but just doing what I did with that. The research I should have done was looking at the depth chart, and I didn't look at some of the depth chart with some certain stuff. I was in a rush. I'm trying to put out, videos, and because I'm in a limited time right now where I got school and different stuff like that, Saturday is the only day I'm able to actually put out videos and try to do a plethora of them, so you won't get bored of me or tired of me or just completely forget me. So anyway, if you can tell by the title of this video, this is the rookie prediction stats for the linebackers of the 2018 season. And so, with that being said, I did do my research, so let's get started. Now, I didn't go too deep, but I did my research in terms of from stuff that I've heard or read, and also looking at the depth chart so I can get a more understanding of where guys are at. And with that more understanding, I'm going to just mention guys that are in position to probably put up some stats during the 2018 season. So let's start with inside linebackers. Now, looking at it in perspective, the only starter that I actually saw in this was Tremaine Edmonds. He's the only starter from that inside linebacker position. A lot of the other guys are all backups. And, it's not to say alarming, but it's one of those situations where it just happens. When you got defensive players, and especially just defensive rookies in general, a lot of them don't get a chance to start unless they're really high round draft picks, or if they're giving the opportunity to really be the starter. Most of the time, they're always beaten out by veterans. The only guy that would have been a starter, but because of situation, he's not a starter, is Roquan Smith. And we all know why he's not the starter. But other than that, Tremaine Edmonds is the only starter of these guys. Now, I'm not the biggest Tremaine Edmonds fan. I think that there's a lot of stuff he needs to work on. And what I've read and what I've actually heard from a source, not different sources, but at least one source and what I've read, he's been good, but he hasn't been great. They say that he still gets trapped up or kind of caught up with running plays, play action. He still get caught up with that type of stuff, and obviously, that's a huge thing for a linebacker in general, is being able to drop back in coverage but not get outsmarted. And when you outsmarted, tight end is going right past you down the seam for a touchdown or for a big play. So with a guy like Tremaine, he needs to be able to work on that, work on his instincts a little bit. That was one of the things that I think he's very instinctive when it comes to stopping a run. But when it comes to dropping back in coverage, I never see him be that instinctive. Only when the play is in front of him. If he has to run down the field with a tight end or something like that, he's getting beat all the time. And the reason why I think that is because I didn't see it in college. So it makes me think that he will always get beat. Or not maybe always get beat, but it's a situation where it's something he needs to work on. And if it was him going after the run, and that's why maybe a tight end could get behind him, that's going to be a huge problem, especially for a guy like him, because he's a high-round draft pick with high expectations. And the Buffalo Bills fans, they need a new defensive leader, a guy that can carry their team, especially a linebacker that that could really do some things for them. And if he can't be that guy, then it's just another wasted draft pick. So overall, I think that when it comes to rookie stat prediction, now just going off of that and then going to stat prediction, I do think that he still gets around 90 tackles during the season, especially if he starts all year, which he probably will. And I think that he's going to give you a couple of interceptions. I think about 1 or 2. 1, 2, maybe 3. I'll say 1 to 3 interceptions. I can see him getting a good amount of plays of tackles in the backfield. So when it comes to tackles, not sacks, but just straight up tackles in the backfield, I can see about... I think that he can be, honestly, in the top 10 of starting linebackers in the league. So I can see about a good maybe, 15 to 20 of them. And then overall, when it comes to sacks, obviously he's not a pass rushing linebacker. I think that he can still bring that ability to be able to shoot the gap and get off of blocks and then be able to possibly make the sack. Yeah, I got it. What are you doing? Is that yours?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay, you got that from Mom? Okay, cool. Because I had one in the fridge. I didn't get to Abby ate the rest. Anyway, like I said, it's a raw video, so there will be no edits. So when it comes down to Tremaine Edmunds, I think that he will have a solid season, especially because I believe that he will be a starter all year. Now, like I said, there's not a lot of starters in general when it comes to the inside linebackers, but we do have some outside linebacker starters. One is Shaquem Griffin, who I think is the best linebacker in this draft, if it wasn't for him having just one hand. I think that he's going to do excellent. I think that the stats that I said for Tremaine Edmunds can be duplicated by Shaquem Griffin, but I think that he will have a little bit more sacks and a little less interceptions, and not because he has one hand he's going to have less interceptions. I just believe that opportunities, there's going to be opportunities that will come, but, in situations where what he does very, very well, the Seattle Seahawks are going to let him do, and that is shooting gaps, that is coming off the edge sometimes, and that is just kind of playing with the instincts without having to cover guys one-on-one and trying to keep the play in front of him. He can cover down the field, but I think that his best work is within the box of a play, in the box of a defense. So I can see Shaquem Griffin getting at least at the most maybe 4 to 5 sacks. I can see him getting about 1 or 2 interceptions, and I can see him making a good amount of tackles in the backfield, and I can definitely see about 80 to 90 tackles for a guy like Shaquem Griffin. I think that was an excellent choice, and I think that that's the prediction that I'm going to be giving Shaquem Griffin. And then going to Darius Leonard, who is one of my favorite linebackers because he was the most all-around, most versatile linebacker in this draft. And I say Shaquem Griffin was probably the best. Darius Leonard was probably literally right there, right behind him in terms of just having everything that you want next to a guy like a Roquan Smith. I thought that all of those guys had a lot of things that you like, but Darius, to me, and Shaquem brought a little bit more aggressiveness, than what Roquan brought. I think Roquan brought some aggressiveness, but it wasn't as that alpha male aggressive. Not to say he's not an alpha male, but it's just that extra little dog in him. And so when you have a guy like a Darius Leonard, who's the starter, who's going to be the starter for the Indianapolis Colts, obviously they need these defensive guys to play good. From what I've heard during preseason, he's been amazing during the preseason, and I think that's going to carry over. I think that overall he's probably going to be the best linebacker in the rookie season of this draft class. In terms of, I think he's going to have the best stats out of all of them. I think that he's definitely going to break over 100 tackles. I don't know about the sacks and interceptions. Because he is a big playmaker, I think that he's going to have a good amount of sacks, and he's going to maybe not as much, but definitely the interceptions. I see him as a guy that's that much of a playmaker that he can have interceptions. But we've seen plenty of times when it comes to rookie linebackers, they don't get the turnovers like that. Obviously, all of these guys are possibly going to have forced fumbles or so-and-so and stuff like that. But I think that tackle-wise, this dude will definitely have over 110 tackles, and he's going to be a pretty good starter for the Colts in this 2018 season. Now, going into guys that I think will just be production guys. They're not starters. But they're still, I would say, pretty high on the depth chart. One is Harold Landry that plays for the Tennessee Titans. He has Derek Morgan and Brian Orakpo ahead of him. Now, when it comes to Harold Landry, I like what he can bring, the bendiness that he can bring and stuff like that. And the thing about him is that because he's such a natural pass rusher, I think that you're going to get good production out of him if you're a Tennessee Titans fan. And when I say good production, I'm not talking about double-digit stacks. I'm not even talking about high, like 8 or 9 sacks. I'm talking about a good solid 5 to 6 sacks, you know, making plays here or there, being able to stop the run, being able to rush the passer, stuff that you want to see from a young outside linebacker for a 3-4 position. So I think that Harold Landry can give the Tennessee Titans a lot of things that they in terms of culmination that they don't get from both Brian Orakpo and Derek Morgan on a consistent basis. They're both good players, but you just want that extra explosiveness. And that's why I think that they will put in Harold Landry on third downs, or what you will call passing downs, where it's like 3 or 4 receivers out there, and you can have a guy like Landry just pin his ears back and go. And then last but not least, Uchenna Nwasu that plays for the Los Angeles Chargers. This is another guy. He's behind Joey Bosa. He's behind Melvin Ingram. And he's the type of guy that you just got to put out there and have him rush the passer. Now, from what I've heard or what I've seen and stuff like that, I haven't seen much, but what I've heard and what I've read, that's what I meant to say, is that when it comes to a guy like Nwasu, he's been actually pretty good at the run as well, which has been, I think, surprising for a lot of the Charger fans that are out there and just media in general. This is something that I kind of seen when it came to him, but I thought he still needed work on, but it seemed like he's worked on it really well. And he's a guy that, you know, because I think when you have a guy like Joey Bosa and then you have a guy like Melvin Ingram, it's hard for a rookie to be a starter. So I think that, you know, that can push him into the starting mode, but he's just one of those guys that, you know, he probably won't be a starter here, but the production will be there, and I think that he won't have the most sacks for the rookies. I don't think he'll have the most sacks because there will be another player that will have more sacks than him. But I think that just overall, this is a guy that he's definitely probably going to have more than Harold. He could probably have the same amount, which I look at the 4 to 6 range in terms of sacks. But I think that he's going to bring the certain things that the Chargers fans are looking for, and something that should carry over into years to come. But in his rookie season, I think it's going to be a solid season. Not good enough to be Defensive Rookie of the Year, but at least be a guy that could be in consideration if he gets the opportunities to do so. So if you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more Draft Raw Authentic and more videos that's going to be coming out soon, especially today, please subscribe. Please comment if you didn't like what I had to say about a player, or you think that I forgot about the player, so we can debate about it. And please share this video so other people can join us, other people can comment, and they can debate, and we can build this big drafting community. Once again, this is Draft Raw Authentic. I thank you for watching. Goodbye.